With Eric Leonard.
Eric Leonard has all the details. We're talking right now to Matt Latimer. Talked about his book a few weeks ago when there were excerpts in GQ magazine. He was a speechwriter for George W. Bush, like the last couple of years. And his book is called Speechless, Tales of a White House Survivor.
So let's continue with Matt here. So when everything collapsed last year, it seems from reading the excerpts in your book that the Treasury Secretary, Henry Paulson, walked in and said, just give me $700 billion. I'll figure it out.
That's pretty much how I saw it. He kept changing what he needed the money for, but he just said, hey, basically, give me the money and I know what I'm going to do. And scared everybody, including the president and the Congress, into giving him whatever he wanted.
What was Bush's reaction to the request?
Well, the president, wanted to do something to fix the system, and he was told what everybody else was told, that if we don't do what Paulson told us to do, the entire capitalist economy as we have known it to exist would no longer exist.
As I recall from your excerpts, you guys were sitting around thinking of writing legacy speeches, and all of a sudden this was sprung on you. You had to write a big speech for President Bush about the bailout.
But did Paulson explain? Because if my memory is right, a lot of the money was eventually given to the banks, and they've been sitting on it ever since.
Yeah.
So what was he nuts or what?
Well, he said that he needed the money right away. It was a dire situation, and then he got the money and didn't do anything for weeks, and then he changed what he said he was going to do. And at one point, the president said, you got to tell me what you're doing. I don't understand what you're doing. And the president was frustrated about it, and I don't blame him.
And what was it? Did you almost describe him as like a non-person or sort of a phantom at the White House, Paulson?
Well, all I was saying was, this is somebody who 99% of the country had never heard of until the economic crisis hit. He was a guy from Goldman Sachs who just a year earlier had told everybody that this is the strongest economy he'd seen in his business lifetime. And now suddenly, he was basically the prime minister of the United States.
Okay, but this is what I wonder, or what most people wonder. Is everybody in politics just full of crap? I mean, he was standing up saying we're in a great economy, and then all of a sudden everything collapsed, and it was like, okay, give me the money. What are you going to do with it? Well, I don't know. And he kept changing his mind, and he couldn't explain it, and Bush couldn't understand it. And I'm reading this and thinking, well, this is no way to run a country. There's got to be something better than this.
Well, that's one of the reasons I wrote the book, is because I think people should read all these things. And it's not just the presidency. It's the Congress and the Capitol Hill and the Pentagon. There's a lot of things like that people need to know about and decide if they want this kind of country.
So was the problem that Paulson couldn't explain it, or Bush couldn't understand it?
Well, I think the president could understand it. I just think that Paulson kept explaining it different ways and changing his mind.
Because you have a whole thing in the book where the Bush didn't seem to understand the speech that he was told to give.
It's not that he wasn't capable of understanding it. It's just what he was told we were doing, and what we were told we were doing was different than what Treasury Paulson decided we were doing. And he was misinformed as the rest of us were.
So wasn't this right before he was supposed to make the speech or something?
Yeah, hours before he found out that what he thought we were doing, what we all thought we were doing, we weren't doing.
And he had like a small meltdown, it seems.
Yeah, well, I guess it was small to medium size. And he said, "Is it too late to cancel the speech?" And of course, it was.
Well, what did Bush ultimately try to do when you have somebody who's got so much money and power in their hands, like Paulson, but couldn't focus on a decision? What can a president do? Was he really held hostage to the whims of Paulson at the end?
Well, I mean, you couldn't really get rid of the Treasury Secretary at that point. I mean, it's at the end, and that would have rattled the markets even more. But, I mean, he also had the Federal Reserve Chairman and economic advisors. I mean, basically, he just tried to find out what Paulson was doing and get a better sense of what was going on. But Paulson just seemed to be, kind of off on his own, and I thought that was troubling.
Matt Latimer, the book is called Speechless, Tales of a White House Survivor. Definitely people ought to read this book.
Thanks for talking to us, Matt.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.